Hey everybody, welcome back. Another vibe coding stream today. So we're going to be picking up where we left off on the last stream. The last stream, we had a really great stream. Not a ton of coding in the last stream, but we discussed all the different work that we completed on the live streams together. So we had a lot of new members coming in, and we discussed that. So that was great. And today we're going to be going and moving ahead, completing the pagination fix from the last live stream. So the items we're working on is finishing the pagination fix, so we can make sure that our database only queries 50 results at a time. We're going to start testing scheduled reports. So these are two items that I really need to push to production. Let me see. So let's go ahead and start doing that. Let me make sure I got Twitch up here. Cool. Okay. So let me show you the pagination fix here. Okay. So when I come to reports and I go to critical event report, and let's go to network, and then let's go ahead and open up cursor here. Let's just go to projects, get party. Okay, so we built a plan yesterday on stream together. So let's go ahead and open up that. Cursor agent has a new CLI. I know Cursor released some updates. I think they have a new version. I think it's Cursor 2.4. I believe they introduced sub agents. I haven't used them yet, but definitely interested for sure. So let's see here. Let's open up our chats. Here's the critical event report. Okay. So it looks like it did start making the changes. So let's see. And so you can see that this query has some heavy join operations. And that's why this query can get kind of heavy. Let me open up pgadmin. And we're going to make sure we have our, I know we have our indexes set up. Just for the purposes of the stream, we're going to make sure we get, or at least review the indexes that we have set up in Postgres. Let me install this new cursor update. Waiting for, there we go. So this is new Cursor 2.4, I guess, that's booting up right now. Let me see. Cursor 2.4. Okay, yeah, so I guess this is 2.4, which is pretty cool. So we've got sub agents and image generation now. So now the only thing that I'm kind of curious about sub agents is, do these sub agents launch automatically without me having to do anything, right? Or do I have to take some sort of action to launch sub agents? I'm also interested, is this just going to burn a lot of tokens using these sub agents? I can see how these sub agents are great. These sub agents are great if you're in a large organization you deploy some code, and like here they have this example of all these lint fixes, right? Like some basic npm, maybe package drift or something. And I could imagine a huge code base. You deploy some code and there's thousands of these small errors, right? And then launching all these sub-agents to tackle them all at the same time is kind of interesting. And then we have image generation. So it looks like they integrated Nano Banana, Google Nano Banana Pro, into Cursor to help do image generation, which is pretty cool. So let's come back over here. I'm gonna ask it. First, we could start to. Before we do that, though, I just want to. This is even a good command for ChatGPT. Let's see here. ChatGPT 5.2. I'm just gonna get the Postgres command. Give me the Postgres command to see all indexes I have set up in the database. Okay. Be interesting to see how big the indexes are. So if I come to Postgres and let's execute this query here. So these are indexes. This is like a table of contents for the database. And to any of you Vibe coders out there, you know, a lot of this database stuff and authentication, like in the previous live streams, I did some, I built an authentication service that handles like JWT tokens, OAuth tokens, refresh tokens, access tokens, and I built that all from scratch using Postgres and Redis. And so, and I'm doing that because I want a kind of a lower level control over authentication and users. But for Vibe coders, there's tools like Supabase, I think. I've heard people discuss tools like Convex. And these are, I know at least for Supabase, it's like a wrapper around Postgres to help you set up stuff like OAuth, right? So, and I'm trying to build this system from the start for scale. And these services are all deployed on AWS EKS. And so that's why I'm taking kind of this more methodical approach. But, you know, if you are a Vibe coder and you're looking to build prototypes quickly and just launch them into the market to see if there's demand, right? There's tools like Supabase, Convex, and there's many others. I can't, they're not all coming to mind now, but these tools, also AWS Cognito, these are tools that can help you build secure authentication systems without you having to build them out from the ground floor. So anyways, let's see what indexes we have set up. Okay. We're just checking our indexes right here in Postgres. Let's see. Okay, so here's all of our indexes in the database. So now I'm going to just say, okay, before I review the new updated query, I want you to confirm that we have the correct indexes set up so we can handle these join operations. One of these tables gets large on production, and so these join operations can be heavy, especially for customers that have a lot of vehicles. So we're using Gemini. I like to use Gemini 3 Pro until we hit some sort of limitation or resource constraint. Filtered events. Event table, the big one. then type. So this is the query, guys, and I'll get this out of here. So this is the query, and you can see this query has some join operations. And so what I'm making sure right now is that we have indexes set up on the columns that we're joining, right? And so we're building a table of contents. So when we execute these queries, we don't have to scan the entire table, right? Is the idea. So, and then we're about to build this plan. And what we're working on now, guys, is pagination. So when I come to network here, say if I want to execute a query for an entire month, essentially. Let's go back to December. Okay. So let's query an entire month of data, right? So when I query this entire month of data, and you know what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you guys. Let's open up. Okay, I want you to open up or follow the logs in my reports service on Kubernetes. You can run kubectl commands to find the reports deployment. And then we want to open logs and follow them so we can review the logs when I execute the front end request. We are generating the critical event report, and I just want to look at the reports logs. I know you guys can't see that. It's behind my face here, but let's see. Here we go. Okay, there we go. Hey, Full by Primes. Yeah, I have a fleet management system. So this is the fleet management system. So we have mapping, right? This is Three.js on top of Google Maps. I can select a vehicle, zoom into a vehicle, right? There's, we can share location for vehicles. So if I want to share a link that expires, I can do that. So this link would expire in 60 minutes. And this will give you live location sharing of the vehicle. So that's live location share. I don't think I've ever actually shown that on stream. We also have trip reporting, right? So if I come, I can start to look at trip reports, right? So I can hover over these different trips, select a trip, review events in the trip. So here's one that says DSM calling. And this is me in my vehicle. So here, let's open up this event. So here you can see it's actually doing AI at the edge, detecting my cell phone. Yeah, Full by Prime. So I've been involved in different products that the U.S. government has. I feel about that. Yeah, the vehicle kill switch. I haven't heard of that yet. I know that long haul vehicles that are over the road or drive long distances, they used to record their hours on paper, but now they record their hours electronically, and the U.S. government mandated that product. Yeah. I mean, killing the vehicle, the kill switch on the vehicle. I haven't been familiar. I mean, I've heard about it. I know that I've dealt with like fleet managers that hit that kill switch if they have maybe a driver is driving erratically or doing something dangerous. I know some of these guys have number one, they have governors on the truck to limit the speed, and also I know some of them do have kill switches. So they can cut the ignition so the driver can't turn on the ignition anymore. And that's, I guess, if a driver gets a little unruly or maybe like a disgruntled driver and, you need to stop the driver from driving or go pick up the truck. Because a lot of these trucking companies or companies with large amounts of vehicles, the drivers don't always, sometimes the drivers are owner operators and they own the vehicle. Sometimes they don't own the vehicle and they're leasing it from the trucking company. And so that truck is sometimes $1 million, very expensive truck. So these are events. Then we have, this is really what we vibe coded on stream, which is pretty cool. So this is the coaching platform, right? So when I come and I can run analysis or object detection on this video here. So we're looking for relevant objects and trying to determine, okay, is this event a false positive? Is it a real event, a fake event? Do we need to take some sort of action, disciplinary action on the driver? Do we need to tell him he's doing a good job, right? And so trying to make a determination of how risky an event was. And then we're also building a 3D simulation of the event. So here you go. Here's a 3D simulation. And this is moving at a relative speed. And what's really cool about this is a fleet manager can come get the context about an event that happened maybe on the other side of the United States, right? And then we have a report. So we're kind of building a snapshot of the event, and then we're making an action plan. And all of this is dynamic, right? So every event is different, and there's different circumstances for every event. And it's not always about like, tapping the driver on the head and saying, hey, you're not doing a good job, right? It's also about giving positive reinforcement to drivers that are doing a good job, right? And maybe trying to create some sort of gamification to encourage drivers to participate in kind of, making sure that they're behaving or driving in a safe way. Yeah, exactly. So pretty much. And the industry is going to evolve a lot. I also have drivers, so I have cameras in the vehicle, right? So this every time I get in the vehicle, it takes a picture of my face and it does driver ID. And so it's doing face detection. But yeah, so we have I guess you could call it a black box in the vehicle. That's handling telematics and video events. It's running very small LLM models at the edge. Sure, yeah. Hey, full by primes, yeah, no problem. There's a lot more to this system. I know a lot of people are going to come in and probably ask what I'm doing, and I don't have Nightbot set up yet. So it gets a little tiring answering a lot of questions, but I want to. So I may not. There's more to this platform. I haven't gone through all of it yet, but if you're interested, you can go check out more of the previous live streams. I also do a lot of shorts from the live stream, so if you're interested, you can check out the shorts too. I know some people hate shorts, but they're there. Geozones, all types of stuff, and then we also have an agents business, and we haven't built out the full front end for the agents business, so I won't show that now, but. On some of the previous streams, we've started talking about the voice agent, and we'll be working on that on this stream here. But for now, what we're doing is pagination. So if you're not familiar with pagination, let's see. Pagination is so pretty much if I went to go query an entire month's worth of data, because there's a lot of data in these tables, right? These join queries are very expensive. And so there's a couple things you want to do when you have a query like this with joins. Number one is you want to have indexes set up on those columns that you're joining. And the reason why you want to have that index set up is so you don't have to scan the entire table, right? Or you don't want the Postgres to have to, if you have 1 million records in a table, and you only need to fetch like 50 of those records for a specific customer, you don't want to have to scan the entire 1 million records to just find those 15 records for the customer. And so we just made sure we had our indexes set up properly, and I'll show you the problem actually. First, let's do this here. Okay, it found the reports. So now I'm going to have it run the logs. Okay, here we go. So here's the reports logs, right? Okay. So here's the reports logs. So now I'm gonna come, and this is in Kubernetes. This right now, this report log is dumping from AWS EKS from a pod. So I used a command called kubectl to do that. Or kubectl is like the CLI tool. Or I don't know if you call it an SDK or a CLI for Kubernetes, right? And I can just show you. So these are all the So these are all of our Kubernetes services right now, and the one service that we're working on right now is this report service. This service is using Java Spring Boot. Hey, Danny, I'm not super familiar. Is that Internet Computer Protocol? So I'm right now I'm using HTTP to communicate between the microservices. HTTP protocol. Oh, ideal customer profile. So really, anybody that has a fleet of vehicles that's concerned about safety, anyone that is concerned about fuel usage, anyone that's worried about their carbon footprint, right? Really, the main driver is safety, but there's a lot of workflow stuff too, like where like with our system, sometimes like a plumber might go to a job, and when the plumber gets to the job, we in our system we can determine, okay, how long was he at the job site, and then you can use that information to figure out, okay, how many hours do we need to build this customer for. But really, what I've found in this industry with if you have any fleet of vehicles, or if your business is using transportation of any sort, right? One accident one accident that results in a potential fatality, even, right? Just those legal costs alone, even if your driver is innocent, right? And so if your driver's innocent and you don't have a record of your driver being innocent, you might still have to hire a lawyer to fight the case, right? And that, just the legal fees alone, can put you out of business. Now, also, if your driver was at fault, right, it can be considered, if you haven't tried to take some action to implement some sort of safety program, that could also be seen as negligence. Yeah. So Danny, one really interesting idea I have is voice agents with load board freight, right? So, and I don't know if you've seen the system or not, but really what I'm awesome. Yeah. So IFTA. So Danny, I'm sure you're familiar with like ELD and stuff. So, I've been very involved in that business. And I was very involved in helping over-the-road truckers file their IFTA forms, right? Keeping track of the miles as they go into each state. But one of my biggest ideas right now that I'm very interested in is like pulling the loads, understanding where your vehicles are on the map, pulling down your loads. And I'm not that familiar with load board freight, but pulling down potential loads, right? Finding which vehicles are closest to that load, using voice agents to call the shipper or the receiver or the broker, help you negotiate rates, right? And then book those loads. So you could be an owner operator. And one of the challenges with the owner operator is that you have to essentially do everything by yourself, right? You got to book the loads, you got to drive the truck, you got to run the business. But if you could have a system to help them not only book loads, but also negotiate loads or negotiate pricing. Be very interesting. But really awesome to have you here, Danny. It's really cool to have you part of the stream. So I built a voice agent, actually, and I'm considering, it's also a voice agent, but it can do SMS, it could do email too, right? And I know the voice agent, these brokers probably hate talking to robots. But, as the models get more and more intelligent, it may be indistinguishable from a human. Interesting, Danny. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not, I want to take like a driver first approach, and I'm interested in deploying these technologies, but the reason why I backed off of the voice agent is because there was too much latency, and it felt like it wasn't ready. So I'm kind of waiting for the next generation of intelligent models. Yeah, I've been to Matt's before. Yeah, definitely. And so that's kind of why I haven't been as focused on that. But also, I don't know if you've seen this, but I'm doing driver ID now. So this is a way for, and I have a lot of customers too that don't have driver-facing camera, right? Because a lot of these guys sleep in the truck. They don't want a camera watching them while they're doing their thing, right? And I mean, some people want the driver-facing, some people don't. So right now I have a driver ID solution for when you have a driver-facing camera. And so this helps me because you can't really do safety unless you know who the driver is. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I know Samsara 100%. So I was in this industry before Motive and Samsara existed. I was selling these products before these guys got in the game. But these guys have, massive venture capital funding. And I think Samsara went public. I know Motive's trying to go public. But to be honest with you, I've been managing this system for a long time, right? And when Samsara came around and they have billions of dollars of funding, it feels like, oh man, it's like this is like the 800-pound gorilla that it's impossible for me to even compete with, right? And so I'm always thinking of ways, how can I differentiate? How can we price our product to? And they're subsidizing. They're using the venture capital to subsidize the product cost, right? So they're coming in with very low pricing. So always thinking of ways to differentiate. But then AI came around, and AI has been seriously like just life-changing. It makes me feel like, okay, I can actually do something. I can differentiate, right? I can position myself in the market. And exactly, Danny. So Danny, this isn't, so you know a lot about this. So the thing is that Samsara right now, because they went public, they're getting pressured to only do fleets, I think, size 10 and up. But we all know that this industry is fragmented, right? And like the entire industry is 10 vehicles and below, right? And that's where guys like me, I come in trying to do the best I can to add more value to these guys. Because people like Samsara, they're just focused on enterprise, right? Or like Schneider or whoever the largest customers are. And so, that's not me. I'm like, I don't discriminate on size. I do 1 unit fleet owner operator, and I love him, right? I'll do a 10 truck fleet, 15, 20. That's kind of our sweet spot, is really below 50. Above 50, you start to get a lot of demand on engineering. Oh, wow. Hey, Chad on. Cool. Yeah, so I'm building like a coaching solution now. So I was able to vibe code this using and this was something that before AI tech was here. It was challenging. This would have been incredibly challenging for me to do, right? But with the help of AI, it's pretty incredible. But I was able to bring together these depth estimation, object detection models. And hey, guys, I'm glad you guys are here. It's really cool to have people from this industry here. Please like and subscribe, guys. It helps push out this content a lot. One of the things I want to do on this stream is, like you can see in this video, that these are pre-trained models. So they're pre-trained on objects, but what we can do is we can start to try to create data sets, and really I'm going to start trying to build data sets and label and annotate those data sets. So right now it's getting my seatbelt as a handbag, which is kind of funny, but that really should be detecting it as a seatbelt, right? In my use case, right? And so also like this pre-trained model is not doing cigarette right now. So that's another idea, is to do cigarette. And this is really cool. I'm the only person that I've seen in this industry that has this 3D simulation. So this is moving at a relative speed here. And what's really cool about this is, my idea with this is that a lot of fleet managers or safety people, the vehicle's thousands of miles away from the yard. Vehicle gets into some sort of event, and you have to talk to the police. You got to talk to the insurance company. You need to take action fast, right? And so one cool thing about this too is, obviously you can get context from just watching the event, right? But there may also be some value in taking these objects, and then putting them, or identifying the relevant objects, then putting those 3D objects inside of this event reconstruction scene, right? And then like replaying the scene like that. And insurance companies may be interested in something like this. And really what I'm really interested about, and this is like the super end game, but maybe using like open source LLMs to act like a panel of judges, right? When two autonomous vehicles get into an accident, right? So that's really the question, is when you have two vehicles that don't have drivers, and I don't know how fast this is going to happen, but two vehicles that don't have drivers get into an accident, who's liable in that scenario, right? And oh, cool. No, I haven't. Katana clearing and with terminal. No, thanks for letting me know about them, though. I'll definitely check that out after stream. So right now, one thing we're working on, guys, is the pagination. So let me come back. Let's try to run a full month of data here. Okay, so let's go to inspect, and we go to network. Let's click generate. And here you can see, guys, I have, I wasn't doing driver ID, I guess, back this far. But anyway, so here's the query, or here's the request, here's the header, and here's the response. So the issue is that it returned 523 rows. So if I look down here, I ran this report for a full month of data. Now you can imagine, if it's a big trucking company and they have 50 trucks, a full month of data is a ton of data to query from Postgres. And this is what that query looks like. And so we have join operations, but what I noticed is, even though I added indexes on all the columns where we're handling these join operations, on production, when I have a ton of data, when a customer has a ton of data and they try to query a full month, it still is, the data gets returned, but it takes too long, right? No, hey, Chad, I worked as a salesperson. So I worked as like a partner distributor for companies like Qualcomm. And then I saw the future of telematics video, right? Like there's always been a separate GPS tracker and a camera, right? And I saw that it looked like the future was maybe adding telematics to the camera product, and so the camera product's able to act like a GPS tracker and a camera. And so I saw a gap in the market there. I saw that, that like the vehicle tracking, trailer track, asset tracking, trailer tracking, um, uh, and some of these markets have been penetrated pretty aggressively already, right? But the camera market was pretty wide open. And so, I had a product portfolio and partners with a lot of different people in the space, like trying to, because one thing that you find out is that when you're dealing with people that have 50 trucks or less, right? It's not a one size fits all scenario, right? And so, and that's really my value add, is that I'm not exclusive to anyone. And so I can bring together this product suite by partnering with different companies. And so I saw an opportunity to build out a platform. And so I started working with hiring engineers, working with interns, working with capstone, with the local college, running lots of capstone projects. So I've worked with engineers of really all skill levels. A lot of people that have worked with me went on to Palantir, Robinhood, really all the big FANG companies. So I've had the pleasure of, starting as a business guy and then learning from a lot of smart people. And so that's kind of how I got here, right? So I'm not a classically trained engineer. I'm not some super heavy duty. I'm not a super, I'm not a super heavy duty, like algorithm guy, right? But that's where AI really changed my life, because, AI can help you figure out. And this business really doesn't have any hyper complex algorithm, right? It would get more complicated if you're doing like the more data that you have, the more complex, the more you need to start thinking about like time and space complexity of your algorithm and how fast is the algorithm, right? And latency issues. But, right now AI essentially helps me do a lot of the super heavy lifting, right? So anyway, so we added all of our indexes. Now we have okay, so this is the log. So here's kind of what we're printing to the log. Nothing too relevant in here, but really just showing you this is the issue. So it's pulling 523 rows. Instead, it should only be 50 at a time. So it should only query the database for 50 results at a time. So we built out a plan, and let me come grab the plan here. Let's see. Okay, it's in this one here. Okay, so we built out this plan, so let's look. So refactor SQL query. Yes, chat on. So not the, I've built, you can go check out the previous live streams to see what I vibe coded, but I've started to vibe code a lot of stuff. And one thing I'm going to be doing too is, one thing I'll be doing is, and I'm not sure if the if I'm going to hire some interns and just hire a group of engineers. I'm not sure if you'll see them on stream or not. It depends if they want to be on stream or not. But I'm going to be kind of building out a workflow, working with other teams of engineers now. And this is my first time going to be agentic coding with really a team of engineers. And so that should be fun. But yeah, so not this entire telematics video platform was not vibe coded. But if you go back and watch the live streams, you can see pretty much all the products that I did vibe code. I vibe coded speeding alerts, scheduled reports, the safety platform, clusters on the 3JS map. So a lot of features have been vibe coded. All right, so let's just check out the plan one more time. Okay. Refactor SQL query. And we already actually built this plan, I think, yesterday before we got off stream. We have moved the join event media inside the first CTE. So I just want to make sure. So what we need to do is when we do fetch the query, we need to pull the total of 523 so we can display it here. Okay, so even though we're only going to be executing the query for 50 results, we need to also make sure we have the total row count of 523. Can you review the plan and make sure that this is the case? Yeah, planning mode has been great for me. One thing I did, Danny, recently is I use Git submodules because I have a multi-repo setup, but I spun up work trees, and then I used a different model in each work tree, ran the plan. I reviewed the plan, then I went to Codex CLI. I had the Codex CLI review the cursor plans, and then give me a suggestion on which plan it thought was best approach. And then I went and reviewed that, did another human review on that plan, and then I'll execute that plan. But definitely, I haven't tried like these parallel sub agents yet. I gotta try that. So let's see. Okay, yes. The CT calculates the full count. The filter 520 because it runs the limit. For the limit, 50 is applied. Okay. Now let's review these changes with the agent review. Okay, so we completed all the changes in the plan. I just want to make certain before we move forward. Okay, so let's review it. Boom. Find all issues. So we're doing our cursor agent review here. And another thing we have, guys, is this is part of the the agent's business. And what's interesting is this could have a lot of different use cases, but right now this is liquid glass. And one of the things I'm going to be integrating with this is Whisper C++ into the binary. Interesting, Danny. Hey, Osiris. It's pretty cool. We got a lot of new people in the chat today. People in the same industry, working in a similar industry, so pretty cool. Gotcha. Yes, Danny. I know that trying to narrow the scope is 100% helpful, but this is the liquid glass. I can take a picture of all my monitors, and I can say, right now I'm playing RuneScape on the top left monitor. I can say, what do you see on the top left monitor? And so we're going to do some pretty sweet stuff with this. So it's able to say, okay, this is what it sees in the top left. And the idea with this is that when we enter into this new multi-modality world, and really I'm following Apple's lead. So I saw that Apple released liquid glass components. And I think in a world where we have these models that can handle multi-modality, it's going to be valuable to have these kind of liquid glass apps that can pull in any format and spit out any format, right? Who is Vista? I'm not familiar. Oh, sorry. I know Apple probably wasn't the first one to talk about liquid glass. I know that they rolled it out though. So maybe they're not the leader, but they're definitely they're helping. Windows Vista. Okay, so let's see what the cursor agent said here. Oh, it's still reviewing. Okay, view. What's the first? Okay, when the pagination offset exceeds the total number of available events, the result set is empty. Only reads the total count on the first result set row. If no rows exist, the total to 0. Requesting pages beyond available data receive a total count of 0 instead of the correct total count, breaking pagination UI logic. I think it's impossible though. When the pagination offset exceeds the total number. So this is kind of how we handle offset from the front end. If you look at the header has like a limit of 50, I believe. It's been a long time since I did this. But we do handle offset. So it says when the pagination offset exceeds the total number, and I'm probably just going to put this into the chat. Yeah, so the offset is how we kind of do 50 chunks. So when you run this report, the idea is that you want to show only 50 results at a time. And that's so because you don't want to execute the database for all 523 queries, but you also don't want to have to constrain the calendar. So you don't have to constrain the calendar so they can't fetch that much data. Right? Like you don't want to have them have to query 1 day at a time or 2 days at a time all the way back. So let's see. Exceeds the total number of available events. The result set is empty. The fill results method only reads the total count on the first result set row. If no rows exist because offset is beyond the total. I guess the offset kind of keeps increasing. Let's see. Give me your thoughts on this. It's been a minute since I did pagination offset work. Hey, cool, Osiris. Awesome. We can build together. Okay, so total events 523. Only sets total. So total events 523. Page 11, the offset would be 550. Return 0 rows. But hold on, I'm a little confused because when I cycle through these rows, it usually says 523 of 523. It looks like it's working. Okay, this appears to be working on the existing code before we made these new changes. When I cycle through all the pages, the last page will show 501 of 523 of 523 total records. Explain this for a layman. It's been a while since I thought about offsets and pagination. And guys, please follow and like and subscribe. It helps a lot. Hey, thanks, Danny. Thanks for being here. Glad to have you here. If you guys are interested in joining the community, it's a discord.bluecactus.ai. It's also you just put it into your browser. And I don't know if you guys are Discord people, but yeah, be happy to have anyone that's interested in the community. You have to put this into your browser, and then it redirects, and then you grab the Discord link. It should just open up Discord for you, but I know some people want the proper Discord link. Making an Iron Man. Hey, Aaron, no, I haven't. But as these models get more intelligent, who knows what will be possible. Okay, so old code fetches everything. Old code logic. Fetch all 523 events from DB. Java list has size 5, and this is a problem too because it's storing these in application memory. You ask for page 11. Java says list, sublist, 50523. It returns 23 items. The bug in the new code, we ask DB for offset 550, limit 50. DB looks at 523 items. DB says skip 550, only have 523. Okay, here's 0 rows. Okay, got it. Since we get 0 rows, we never see the total column attached to those rows. Listen, the DB returns. Gotcha. It only breaks if you manually force the URL to offset 600 beyond the end. Okay, yeah, the front end is preventing me from... Okay, review the next TS front end logic for the critical event report page, and then let me know if we're not allowing the user to select or to move to a page where there'll be no data, if that makes sense. I butchered that a bit, but here we go. Oh. Okay, I want you to go review the front-end code. It's in the directory next TS. Review the critical event report front-end logic and see how we handle this. Because we may not need to consider this edge case if we're not allowing the user to click to the next page once we have returned all the results. Give me your thoughts. Do not make any code changes yet. So the cursor agent did a pretty good job of pointing this out, actually. Really good job. Okay, so in our front-end code, if the offset plus current rows is greater than or equal to total rows, we hide the next button. It's complicated. It's not that complicated, but it can get a little confusing. But okay, so pretty much once we hit the total number of rows, or if the offset plus the total rows is greater than or equal to, offset plus current rows is greater than or equal to total rows, then we hide that next button. So we'll never actually hit this bug. Let's say, okay, run git status. I want to prepare to commit these changes, but don't commit them yet. Just run git status. And I need to set up commands. Osiris sent me some really nice commands. Really what I like to do is I check out to a new branch, then I commit my changes, then I push to origin. And I know in Cursor we can set that up as a command, and we'll probably end up doing that. I'm not sure if we'll do it on this stream, but we're definitely going to get that set up. There you go. There's the Gemini error. And this is unfortunate. You know, this is why I have to kind of switch to Opus a lot. Let's keep trying to keep trying to push on Gemini here. Oh, there we go. Gemini again. Let's try it again. Guess we're gonna have to switch to Opus here. Now, I think when Google ramps up and gets these new data centers built or kind of expands their capacity, it's going to be, you know, they may catch up pretty quick to Opus. We'll see. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Okay. Yeah, so this is the only file. Okay, I want you to commit these changes with a short and sweet commit message. Okay, now push to origin. Then guys, we're gonna run bugbot and the codex agent. So let's go to reports, pull request, new pull request. Okay, let's take a peek at this. Okay. Everything looks pretty solid. All right, let's create the pull request and go to create pull request. Nice. So now let's so now we got bugbot working on this. So and while we have bugbot working on this, guys, I'm going to go just grab some coffee real quick, or top off the coffee cup. I'll usually I have like a coffee waiting screen, but for now I'll do this BRB. Okay, I'm back. That was quick. Now we also got eyes. So this is so we got two different PR agents about to work on this. We have we've got cursor bugbot and the ChatGPT codex PR review. Hey, and I know, guys. I know we have a lot of people that watch also that are interested in open source models, and Cursor has ways where you can integrate open source models. Um, but from my understanding, it's not the easiest thing to do. And I know there's lots of like open source LLM frameworks. Osiris has sent me a lot of like tools that you can use to run open source models. Also, I'm uh, someone that I just recently met. Someone named William has a YouTube channel called Vibe Community, and he is actually building it's like a VS Code fork that he's trying to integrate some open source models. So maybe just another vibe coding streamer. So it might be interesting to go check out his channel. Okay, so let's get back to here. Okay, so here we have here's our notes that Cursor Bugbot left. So I actually have never. Common table expressions, got it. Filtered events, total count, paginated events to paginate distinct events before joining media and returning an accurate total. Introduces column aliases and event log ID. Okay, cool. Codex review. Return total. So here's Codex gave us an option here. It's the same error I think that Bugbot had caught, which is kind of interesting. So if offset is past the end of the data set. Now, I think we learned that this is not going to be an issue because on the front end, we're handling this on the front end. So yeah, offset can never get past the end of the data set, I don't believe, the way that we have the code, the way the code's working now. Okay, so okay, so let's see. Waiting for Cursor Bugbot still, and then we'll merge this. A full family, a family of 5. I'm kidding. Yeah, I think that one, Osiris, flew over my head a little, to be honest. I was kind of thinking. I was trying. My brain was firing. It wasn't firing on all cylinders, but it was trying. All right. Okay, cool. Bugbot caught it too, but I think we're good. We're going to just ignore the codex, and we're going to ignore that Bugbot for now. And let's confirm this merge. Nice. Let's go to actions. And we're going to see our Docker image starting to build now. So the way that this system works is we have, we're building Docker images from the application code using Docker files, building Docker images and pushing them up to Docker Hub. Hey, Jesse, I'm doing good. How are you? We're working on pagination fixes. So right now, the way the code works is it's supposed to paginate. So like if I come execute this report here, it shows down here, and I don't know if you can, I don't know if you can see, actually, let me see. Okay, this is better. But here it says showing, let's see. Like this is called pagination, where when I scroll back here, so the way that this works is it's only, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with the term pagination. I'm assuming you are. I know you're pretty technical, Jesse, but pretty much this report is only supposed to execute 50 queries or 50 results at a time. So when this front end calls the back end executes the query on Postgres and returns 50 at a time. And then when we click this arrow, it's supposed to go fetch the next 50 instead of fetching all 523 at the same time. So, and right now the code wasn't doing that. It was actually fetching all 523 and then returning 50 at a time to the front end, but still fetching all 523 on the back end. So what happened is on the production system, the query was getting returned, but there was latency. So we just did a pull request. So let's see, it's still building the Docker image. Yeah, so pagination, the idea is, say that you have, like, in this system, pretty much like we have this reports, right? And these are like all different events that the camera triggers: DSM distraction, driver state monitoring, fatigue. It's funny. It's like I don't go to McDonald's that much, but it seems like every event I pull up, I'm getting a late night food item. But anyway, so the idea is that to fetch a full month of data, it's a lot of data, right? And the issue is that this is how the query works. When I come to, so like here's the query, and you can see that it's kind of hard to see, but let's actually find the actual. Okay, so here's the query. And you can see it's a pretty heavy duty query with some join operations. And really the joins are not that big of a deal. And I have indexes set up on all of the columns that we're doing the join operations on. But this join operation, when there's a lot of data in these tables, it can get kind of heavy, right? So the idea is when you go run this report for a full month of data has 523 records. But if you went and executed, there's ways to essentially, you don't have to have the back end grab all 523 of those records at once, right? Because that can be kind of expensive and take time. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Hey, Kevin, that's old school RuneScape. I'm just playing it in the background while I'm working with the agents. So I just literally do some AFK wood chopping. And RuneScape, old school RuneScape has this framework called RuneLite, which is an open source framework in Java. And it's a very active open source community. And so one of the things I may be doing is like building like a plugin maybe on stream. And this is like a game I played as a kid. Actually, old school RuneScape was like one of the earliest games. It was like this. I played some Halo 2 as a kid, I think. And so just kind of brings back some nostalgia, and I just keep it up in the background. So anyway, so here's pagination. So we don't want to have the backend execute all 523 or pull all 523 records. We only need to grab 50 records at a time and only return 50 records to the front end at a time. And then when I click this arrow, then we should make another call to the back end to go grab the next 50, right? Then I press the arrow again. Then we make another call to the back end to grab the next 50, right? And this is to prevent a ton of latency. Smart, allow post to chat. Wow, I had an auto mod in Twitch. I didn't even set that up. Looked like it worked. Cool. Okay. So let's see. So let's see if our Docker file's done building. Where is it? Okay, Docker file's done. Let's go back to cursor. And now let's say, okay, let's do a rollout restart on the deploy. Let's do a rollout restart on the reports deployment. See, Whisperflow corrected me there. I had a little tongue twister there. I found it. Now this is called a rollout restart, guys. I'm going to show you. This is Kubernetes. So Kubernetes is a way. It's a framework built by Google, and it helps you pretty much schedule your workflows on servers, right? It's like and I'm not a Kubernetes expert, but it's like a distributed system to help you take your application code, containerize it, and then run these pods or these containers on node groups. And this is an easy way to really set up auto scaling, horizontally scale, vertically scale. And so with this setup, if I was to, like even with a consumer product, if you vibe coded a consumer product and the consumer product took off overnight, systems like Kubernetes or ECS, AWS ECS Fargate, these type of systems can help you scale, right? And so this is hey operator, how are you? Glad to have you here. So this is kind of my Kubernetes system, and I've learned a lot running this on production. But we have I'm doing self-managed Redis with Sentinel. So there's one master and two clones, and these So anytime if the Redis master were to go down, one of these would get promoted to master. And this is key value storage, right? So we're using Postgres for anything. It's a SQL database, right? So we store some data in the SQL database. For stuff like reporting, where we have to join different tables together, the SQL database, or any type of queries where we have to join tables together, we use Postgres. Any key value storage, I'm using Redis, self-managed on Kubernetes. I'm also running Apache Kafka with Zookeeper. And I was able to deploy all this with AWS Manifest, which is pretty cool. But right now what we're going to do is kubectl get pods namespace API. And so now what I'm actually going to run that with a -w to keep watching. Ooh, I think it's just a lowercase. Nice. Okay. So now I'm going to do the rollout restart. And what's going to happen is it's going to go fetch the Docker image, and it's going to try to spin up the Docker image into a new container and put it onto my node group. And these are the node groups. So these are the node groups. And right now I'm running self-managed node groups. But these services deploy, the application code goes into a container or a pod, and that pod, or the workload, I call it the workload, the application workload, runs on the node group. So what we're gonna do is let's clear this and let's run our. And guys, if you're ever in the terminal, and this command changed my life, a smart person told me this, but when I do Control-R, I can go back and search through my old terminal commands. So if I go Control-R node group and then hit Control-R again, it'll cycle through every command where I typed node group in the terminal. Or I want to do that one query where I'm getting the pods, right? So for that namespace, so I'm going to do Control-R. I'm going to look for the keyword pods. Boom. So my command just popped in again, and I can hit enter. And now I'm watching it. Now let's click run. You can see it spun up a new container. All right. As soon as the new container started running, it terminated the old container. Okay, I want you to check the status. Nice, it's successfully rolled out. So now what we're gonna do is now I'm gonna say, okay, I want you to open up the logs for the reports, and we're gonna go execute the query again for the critical event report, and let's see if our new changes work. Make sure to follow the logs. I wanna look at them with you. Okay, nice. So this is a Spring Boot service. You can see the Spring Boot just booted up. It connected to Redis. So one thing that's cool about Sentinel is that this application code will go ask Sentinel, who is the current master, the Redis master. It goes to, and it could be any three, Redis 1, Redis 2, or Redis 3. There's 3 different Redis pods. So this code goes to go ask Sentinel, who's the Redis master? And then after we find out who the Redis master is, then we connect to that Redis master. And now this service can go check Redis, right, for key values. It can authenticate with Redis and go push key values into Redis or pull key values out. So, okay, so now we're about to test this. Boom. So let's come back to front end. And let's refresh. Let's go back to what we're doing, December 1st to January 1st. Let's click inspect. Let's go to network. And let's click generate. Huh, it still has the total. It doesn't look like it returned all of... Interesting, did it? Make sure everything's working as expected. Okay, I just executed the query. Can you, on the front end, can you review the logs and let me know if it worked? It's working. I think we just fixed pagination, guys. I need to kind of maybe look into that a little bit more. It's a little hard to tell right now. I don't see the actual query. Here's the from, the to. These are the arguments that get passed in. But I think those arguments... Yeah, I guess I just want to confirm, because those arguments, we always passed in those arguments of offset 50 and limit 50 from the front end, right? So just want to make sure that the query is actually working as expected. I can't really tell from the log. I guess, I don't know, I should have looked at the log closer before. Checking PG admin. Okay, I'm just gonna say, okay, give me the PG admin command to look at the last query that got executed. All right, so let's run this. Let's go to PG admin. Let's run this command. What does this tell you? Yeah, this is hard because the query's happening too fast. I'm gonna say log the query. No, or trust the front end. Is there any logs we can add to reports to print more data to the log to make certain that we're executing the query as expected? Yeah, I just want to print the actual SQL query. I mean, I see it here, and we obviously made the updates to the SQL query, but just want to print some debug statements to actually print the query, just to make sure our pagination is working. It's hard to tell looking from here, because I can still see 523 rows here. So I don't know if it's actually only returning 50 rows at a time, 50 records at a time. All right, let's push this. Let me go merge that. Let's open up GitHub again. And anyone that's new here, guys, thank you for being here. Please like and subscribe. It pushes out the content to more people, and it helps a lot. Okay, so let's see. All right, let's go to GitHub. Let's open up a PR. Let's go to report service. Pull request, new pull request. Okay, so these are just the debug logs, which is good. Let's just create this pull request. Honestly, we don't really need to wait for codecs. But I just want to show you, anyone that hasn't seen it yet, we have a Cursor bug bot running and the codecs PR review. Cursor bug bot must be doing a pretty comprehensive check because it definitely runs a little slow. I mean, it just kind of depends on the day. Sometimes Cursor bug bot's quick, sometimes codecs is quick, sometimes bug bot's slow, sometimes codecs is slow. But I think even before I let this run, just for the sake of time, I'm just going to go ahead and merge this. So let's come back to actions. Our Docker image is building now. And these are GitHub actions, guys, hosted runners. So GitHub is hosting. Hey, Midnight Simon. Yes, that's RuneScape. Old school RuneScape. And hey, everybody, thanks for joining the stream. Right now, we're doing a little AFK old school RuneScape, and we're working on pagination. So right now, when we run these reports, we're running reports for a full month of data. And when we have customers that have a lot of data, this query has some join operations. And so the query can, if you do a large query, there can be some latency there. What we're doing is we're trying to make sure that we only return 50 results at a time from the front end. So this is pagination. So when I come and hit inspect and go to network, and I click, let's refresh this page. Let's click generate here. Let's clear the network. Let's click generate. Let's go grab a month of data. And let's click generate. And so what we want to do is we want to be able to show the total amount of records for this date range, but then we only want to return 50 results at a time. So here you can see, and I don't know if you can see this, but down below it says showing rows 1 of 50 of 523. And so right now we just called the backend service and we returned 50 results. And now when I press the arrow again, we're going to go call the backend service again. And now we're going to return another 50 results. So now we can see rows 51 of 100. Then I'll click the arrow again. And now we're going to make another call to the backend and return another chunk of 50. And hey, Midnight Simon, I don't know if you're still here, but thank you again for the raid. Really awesome. And if any of you guys are interested, this is vibe coding. This channel is really all about agentic coding, vibe coding, and building B2B apps and vibe coding those apps. And so we're working on some really cool stuff. We have this, and I vibe coded this. So pretty much we have dash cameras in vehicles, and those dash cameras record events. So it records events at the edge. So things like quick acceleration, erratic lane departure, shock or severe shock, fatigue, distraction, a cell phone use, hard turn, right? So we record all these events at the edge, and then we send these events, we ingest this data, and then we start to do post analysis on this data. So I was able to vibe code this, and and so we're using open source object detection and depth estimation models, and we're looking for relevant objects in the scene. And so we're trying to determine, okay, because really what I'm all about is if you have a fleet of vehicles, the last thing that you want to do is have what we call a false positive event, because these cameras have accelerometers in them. So you could hit a pothole and that camera might shake and trigger an event. And if you're a human driver and you hit a pothole and it triggers an event and your boss calls you to start kind of chirping at you, right? And you're like, dude, I just ran over a pothole. That sucks, right? So what I'm trying to do is try to determine, is this a real event that we really need to pay attention to? Or is it a false positive, right? And what happens is when you get lots of different vehicles, it's hard to make this determination. So we're using AI models to review the video, And then we're building a reconstruction of that event. So this is a 3D simulation of the event. So this is the 3D simulation. And the idea with this is we're going to use that object detection, detect those objects, and we're going to start adding those objects into this 3D simulation, right? So a safety fleet manager could, his vehicle could be 1,000 miles away in a different location, and he could immediately get context, right? So say there's an event and he needs to take action. Whoever's responsible for the fleet, responsible for the safety of the fleet, and that person needs to take action. This is a good way for them to review the video, look at the event reconstruction, and get as much context as they can before they need to talk to the insurance company or before they need to talk to the police officer at the scene of the event. And the future of this might even be, hey, I sit down with my driver and there's an event, and please follow and like and subscribe, guys. It really means a lot. And thanks again to Midnight Simon. He has a really, if anyone hasn't seen Midnight Simon yet, he's doing both vibe coding, but also doing like algorithm stuff. So, and one thing that I know is if, a lot of these FANG companies, right, or kind of these tech firms, these large tech firms that have kind of the elite talent, I'm not exactly sure how interviewing is changing, but it's good to understand some fundamentals too, right? Just being able to go through a few leak code, easy problems, some medium, some basic algorithm stuff. I know that some companies, they're still doing like whiteboard interviews, right? So if your goal is to get a job through coding, definitely it's good to know vibe coding, but also understanding some algorithm stuff too. And so Midnight Simon, actually, I checked out his stream. A really chill, cool, fun stream. I actually enjoyed it a lot. So this is the simulation, and then what we do is then we build a report. So then we build this snapshot, right? So we build this snapshot, and then we try to come up with an action plan for the driver and the coach. And the cool thing about this is today, if you're a driver and you get into an accident, it might be a speeding event, right? A lot of companies that have fleets of vehicles, they'll kind of make you watch the same video about speeding over and over and over. So maybe it's the 10th time that you've been speeding, and they tell you, hey, it's like timeout. Like, hey, go in a timeout, and then you got to watch another. It's like those videos you used to watch in school when class was first starting, or like at a new job, like a job orientation video. And it's just an incredibly, like, you could fall asleep watching this video, right? And so the idea with this is that we're using LLMs to dynamically generate the learning content. And so, try to make it interactive for the driver so they don't get bored with it, right? And they feel like they're actually learning and becoming a better driver. And so we have this. Then we have driver face detection. So at the edge, it's taking a picture of my face, and it's trying to do face detection, right? And so we also have this driver ID face detection. And here's another product that we're working on now. This is liquid glass. So let me show this. So this is liquid glass, and let me see when you guys can see this. Yeah, so here's liquid glass. So this is the telematics video business, and guys, this is dash cameras in the vehicle. We have a mapping system here. This is 3JS on top of Google Maps. You can select a vehicle here, zoom in to the vehicle. We could even share live location of that vehicle if you wanted. So I could go create a link and say, okay, I don't want the link to expire for 24 hours. And this is live location. So if you're a company and say that you have a customer, you're delivering something to the customer, you could see where that load was or that package was in real time, and this little vehicle will move around the map and show you how close that vehicle is to your end destination. And I haven't completed working on this. You should have the recording. And thanks again, Midnight Simon. Thank you. I hope I didn't miss you, Midnight Simon. I don't know if you had to leave, but I'm gonna try to send you a whisper here. Thank you again. I hope I didn't miss you this time. Okay, so this is like, and let me see, someone had a good suggestion here. O.M. Miguel. That sounds like a guy that I know. You should have the recording in the bottom left of the reconstruction simulation. Yes, good idea. So you're talking about the video, the MP4, right? Exactly. So I want to kind of bring together this whole experience. Let's see. The idea is I want to wrap this whole experience into one screen, exactly, where you can see. I want to look at the coaching report data, the video, and the reconstruction all on the same screen real estate. So, and to anyone new here, guys, please like and subscribe and follow. It helps a lot, helps push out this content to new people. So let's see. Okay, so cool. Hey, thanks for that idea, Miguel. That's really good idea. And really kind of my plan is to turn this into more of a chat interface, right? Where we're going to have a safety chat or an agent co-pilot that will be have tools, right? Tools that we have set up on the back end. So the agent can go fetch data from the database, fetch drivers, fetch events, fetch all of our coaching data, and kind of put it in a chat format maybe, and say, someone could just say, all right, I want to see the most severe event from last week. And so in that chat interface, we could return, okay, here's the object detection. These were the objects that were relevant. This is how severe the event is. Because a lot of people are familiar with this ChatGPT interface, right? So that's kind of the idea, but definitely great idea, Miguel. Let's come back. Let's see if our Docker image is done building. Okay, nice. Docker image is done building. Now what we're going to do is let's go do a rollout restart. Okay, here's the rollout restart. And guys, if y'all aren't familiar with Kubernetes, I'll show you one more time. So this is my Kubernetes pods. So this is my system. You know, I'm running self-managed Redis. I'm running self-managed Apache Kafka to handle the distribution of the data to different microservices. But what we're about to do now is we're about to do a rollout restart. So when I come to kubectl get pods, namespace API, and let's watch it. And guys, if you're not, this changed my life, this command right here. If you guys aren't familiar, there's a command called in the terminal, Control-R, and it's the back search. So it's a search for all the old CLI terminal commands that you've run. So if I do pods, I can see, okay, that was one of the commands that I ran in the past, but I could hit Control-R again. It'll take me back to another different CLI command. Then I'm looking for this one. Okay, so kubectl get pods namespace API W, which means watch. Okay, nice. So now we're watching this namespace. Now I'm going to go ahead and run the kubectl rollout restart. And you'll see, so what it does is it it starts creating a new pod before it terminates the old pod. And so this is a way where you don't have a lot of downtime on a production system to roll out these pods like this. So let's see. Now we're going to run logs. Nice. So now here's our Spring Boot service. You can see that this service connects to Redis. It connects to Sentinel Redis, and Sentinel helps connect to the master. And so now what we're going to do is going to go run our command again from the front end. So oops. Okay, so let's go run our command. And we're going to see if it's executing the right query to only return 50 results at a time. So let's go to reports, and let's go to critical events, and let's go run this report again. Let's go back to December 1st, so a full month of data. Let's go ahead and click generate. And I'm going to say, okay, it printed the query. Okay, I want you to review the logs. Are we executing the right query? Only 50 events were returned from the database, not 523. Beautiful, guys. So now, if you see down here showing rows 1 of 50, but it still shows the total records, right? And so that's called pagination. And this is really when you have the system's getting bigger, you have like join queries, join SQL queries. This helps keep the latency down, right? But it's still still allowing your customer to do a larger date range without having these super expensive queries hitting the database. And now what I found was that a month of data, even when I have the right columns indexed, there was still latency there. And any new people, guys, please like and subscribe. It helps a lot. Guys, so we just prepared pagination. That's great. I can move that to production now. The next thing that I'm going to do is work on scheduled reports. So we did set up scheduled reports. So when I come to alerts, you can see these scheduled reports here. And so the idea with these scheduled reports is to run these on an interval, right? And it's been a while since I worked on this, and I didn't deploy it to production yet. But what we're going to do is we're going to try to test this and start getting it ready to deploy to production. That's the next thing that we'll do. And I don't know if I sent, guys, so this is telematics video, and then this is not the whole agent's business, but on the last live streams, we built an authentication service in Go that is doing Google OAuth, handling access tokens and refresh tokens, handling short-lived JWT tokens, handling cookie sessions, and we handled all that in Postgres and Redis. And now this is a Liquid Glass app that I'm going to be using as a sales co-pilot. So I could take a picture of my monitors. It'll take a picture of my monitor. I can say, what do you see in the top right image? So here you can see it was able to look at my images and then tell me, okay, what's in the top right image? Now I'm going to say, what's in the top left? Okay, so in the top left is old school RuneScape. So that's a Liquid Glass, and we're going to be using this as a sales co-pilot. So what that means really is we're going to build like a repository of business documents. So it could be pricing PDFs, could be support information. And you got to think, if I'm a new employee, I'm selling this massive product portfolio, or I have to do support on this massive technical product portfolio. It's nice to have a liquid glass overlay like this that's surfacing the right insights at the right time. So the idea is that, okay, I can take these business PDFs or whatever these PDFs are, embed them, store them in some sort of vector storage, and then we can do similarity search, right? So, as I'm pulling in the context from the overlay, and we can also ingest audio, right? So one of the things that we're going to do is start, and this song is a little intense. One of the things we're going to do is start pulling in audio, right? Using Whisper C++, and we're going to package that into this binary. And then we'll be able to pull in audio from meetings, pull in audio from phone calls, right? And then what we'll do is then we can have some back-end business orchestration logic that has our business documentation. And as we pull context from the liquid glass overlay, we can start to see what's in the business repository, pull in the right context, and surface the right insights at the right time. Did I kill the rally? Oh, the rally funk. Oh, you're talking about the song. I did get raided by someone named Midnight Simon, though, and I've checked out his streams. It's really great streams. And it's really cool for me because, like I said, I'm not like a heavy algorithm guy, right? Again, I came from the business world and now I'm vibe coding. But it's good to and every now and then I try to pull up a leak code problem and do it, off stream, just for my own edification. But I know Midnight Simon's doing some vibe coding and algorithm stuff. So, if you're interested in vibe coding, but also want to learn a little bit more about fundamentals and like space and time complexity. And I haven't watched all Midnight Simon's videos, but it's what I know is that you could write the same algorithm and they both have the same outcome. But one of them is a lot slower than the other one. So just having some basic understanding of when and why to use like different data structures, or when to use like a nested for loop or not use it. He seems like he's definitely a little more low level than me, for sure. So definitely go check him out. That's the kind of music. Okay, yeah, I know. I cut that off. I was kind of enjoying it, but when I was talking, it was like it felt like it was coming over my voice. But anyway, so let's see here. So nice. So we did pagination. This is liquid glass. Just explain that. Now what we're gonna do is let's go try to test these scheduled reports. So let me see if I can find the last chat. Huh. Interesting. I'm just gonna have just open up a new agent session. So let's try Gemini Pro again. And let's close down all of this code. We don't need to see this anymore. Okay, let's close down terminal, command option E. And then I'm gonna say, okay, we're gonna be testing the scheduled reports. What I want you to do is go review the alert service and also the report service and run git log back very far. We're looking for any commits that were related to scheduled reports. I want to understand how we implemented scheduled reports. And then we're going to be testing the scheduled reports using a curl command. And so I want you to start thinking through how we can do this. We need to start testing scheduled reports and prepare it to migrate it to production. Do not run any curl commands yet. We may need to include a cookie in the header potentially to run the curl command. Or you may be able to create a temporary pod inside of Kubernetes to call that service with the curl command. We can think through this together. Okay, let's see if Gemini can go do this. And I thought I had a scheduled reports agent chat that I can't find right now, which is a little annoying. Or let's type CSV. Speeding alert investigation. Start mobile app service. We also have a mobile app, guys. I haven't shown you the mobile app yet. You go back to Twitch. So we used a Postgres. I also want to understand, I know we're using an open source tool to help us run these cron jobs inside of Postgres. And I forget which open source tool we use to do that. So really the way this works is, yeah, so the way this works is these need to get set up as cron jobs. And let me actually go to Postgres pgadmin, and I should be able to show you guys actually what this looks like in the Postgres database. Excuse me. So if I come to, let's see, we have two tables, scheduled reports runs and scheduled reports. So let's go select star from scheduled reports. Let's not even do a limit. There's not a ton. Okay, so here are the scheduled reports in the database, right? So we have the ID, we have the name, report type. So these are the different report types. And really, we're setting up scheduled reports for all of our different report types, right? So like right now, let me exit out of this. So right now we have all these different report types. We have the geozone report, idling report, and I guess you can't see that right now, but we have idling report, stop report, critical event report. And right now our customers have to come in here and and they have to run these reports manually every time, right? So there's not, but really they have some, like I have customers that run this geozone report every day, right? And so what I need to be able to do is I need to be able to go fetch that report, and then go fetch that report and deliver it to them on a schedule, right? And we need to do that without, and you got to think, I could have 100 customers that all have a scheduled report set up, and we need to stagger it because we don't want to go run these big queries all at the same exact time on Postgres all at once, right? So maybe thinking about how can we stagger these to do this in a responsible way. Yeah. Hey, Chad. So I'm in my early 30s. Didn't really, it's probably been around like early 20s, like maybe 25 or or later than that. I don't remember exactly, but that's when I started getting learning, right? But it did take me a very long time to get to where I'm at now in terms of complete understanding. I mean, there was a time in my life where I was not technical at all, right? I just was not. I was technical in the sense where I could be like a technical salesperson and understand, like if you talk to me about, I understood API, right? And like because in my business there's a lot of integration. Some customer has some system, they need to move data from one place to another. So it even took me a minute to understand how to sell API or sell professional services. But then it took me a few years, like slowly working together. And at the beginning, I couldn't even read any of the code. I had people working with me, and I had to, I wasn't able to do PR review at certain points, right? So I had to get really good at asking qualifying questions to help understand, hey, is there a security vulnerability, or where's the code hosted? Do we have API keys hard-coded in Docker files? Do we have API keys in version control, right? And so, and working with less experienced engineers. And one interesting thing is, like, a lot of companies, they're like tons of small and medium-sized businesses. There's only a small set of these like elite companies like Google, Meta, Airbnb, and the big lab companies. The major tech companies are slipping my mind right now. AWS. But there's tons of small organizations, small and medium-sized businesses that are under $50 million of revenue a year, that have engineers, technical people, but they might not be, they might be earlier on in their career or not as deeply technical as some of these people that are at these elite companies. But so what does that mean? That means that even if you do vibe code and say you have a product that takes off, you're gonna be working with maybe it's sometimes less experienced people, and you can't expect them to understand AWS security vulnerabilities, like how Docker works, how synchronous versus async. What's the difference between the node runtime that spins up one thread on the CPU versus Go that can use every thread on the CPU? What's asynchronous? How do I keep the event loop open, right? This is complicated stuff. And I know that a lot of small businesses, have less experienced engineers. And that's really where I got a lot of my knowledge, is working with people that are earlier on in their career, and then learning how to make sure I ask the right questions, right? And that really translated to vibe coding. Yeah. So anyways, that's kind of my story. But okay, so this is scheduled reports. Now if I come to PG admin, let's comment this out, and now let's try scheduled report runs. Select star from scheduled report, scheduled underscore report runs. Okay, so these are the scheduled report runs that we've ran in the past. So let's go back to cursor. So every time one of these scheduled reports runs, we add it to the database here. So let me come to cursor. Okay. We can test scheduled report execution without waiting for the actual schedule by manually triggering it. Beautiful. The report service has an internal testing controller that bypasses... Uh-oh, that's not good. Hold on. Okay. Now, one thing is, guys, if you have auto-scaling set up with ECS Fargate, and say you're vibe coding, and you accidentally have some endpoint, which it looks like it's an internal endpoint. This is not exposed through a load balancer, through Nginx. Nginx is like, AWS Elastic Load Balancer Nginx. I always get confused if it's ALB, ELB, or Nginx. There's a load balancer in front, and you have to expose with ingress. There's something called ingress where you take your AWS microservices and on Kubernetes and you expose them to the internet. This endpoint is not exposed to the internet, so it's good. But like if you had an endpoint that was exposed to the internet and then you had auto scaling set up, if someone like hit you with a ton of requests, you know, AWS might think, hey, there's tons of requests coming in, let me scale this up, and that could kill you. Yes, Aperium. Yes. Hey, we just did a pagination Aperium. So it's pretty cool and happy to have you here. We just set up on reports when I go to critical event report, and I run for December 1st to today, and I go to inspect network and we generate this. And let me see if we still have, okay, here we go. Yeah, so this is our log. So now what we do is in our report, and this is what we just finished working on. But in the report, what we do now is we only return 50 results at a time. So this query has to join multiple tables together, and even though we've set up indexes on these columns that we're joining together on my production system, this still had some latency because there's a lot of data in these tables, even with the indexes. So what we did was we built the query to be able to return. So I generated this for a full month of data, and so now what we're able to do is we're able to show, okay, for the full month of data, there's a total of 523 records, but we only execute a query at the database level for 50 queries at a time. So we return 50, and then when we click this arrow button, it makes another call to the database, returns another 50. Then we make this, click this button again, makes another call, returns another 50. So we're able to get pagination built out. And Aperium, I think you're new here, so this is and guys, I'm going to be going through this a lot today. Oh, cool. Oh, awesome. Hey, Aperium. Well, then I won't go through all of it now, but lots of cool stuff. Happy to have you here. Now what we're working on is scheduled reports. So we're about to test these scheduled reports. So we have all these reports like idling, stop report, geofencing, and so now, like, I have customers that have to go run these geofence. So they set up geofences around their yards, and every time vehicles either enter or exit the yard, they need alert notifications, but also so they get email notifications every time alerts happen, and these are alerts. And so they get email notifications, but also at the end of the day, I have some customers that are doing payroll with geofencing. So you put geofence around an area, and that's how they're understanding, okay, how long was my driver out on the road, and when did he get back? And so now I'm going to set up a schedule to be able to run these reports on a schedule. So I have a customer that needs to see the geofence report every day. So right now he's having to go in and run that geozone report manually every time. And so I don't want him to have to do that. I want to be able to use cron job, some sort of cron job, to run this scheduled report on a schedule, right? And so come back to Postgres. So this is our different tables. So we have, when we add reports on the front end, it sticks it in this table. So this is our scheduled reports table, which is pretty cool. And then we have another table here called scheduled report runs. And this shows all scheduled reports that we've executed. So I'm going to say, so now I'm going to try and, I'm doing some testing. I'm preparing this for production. So let's see here. Okay, so testing plan. Okay, so we do have an internal endpoint that's not exposed. Need a cookie from within the cluster. Okay, good. From the scheduled reports table. If you don't have one, we can either create one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go give it a ID so it can generate this, do a test. We're going to use curl from inside the Kubernetes cluster to run a test here. So let's grab these and let's go back to cursor. Let's paste this in and let's say, okay, I just gave you the different scheduled reports we have set up in the database. Let's try to run the critical events scheduled report. I want you to curl this endpoint from inside the Kubernetes cluster. Hey, yeah, so for location data, that's the hardware in the vehicle. The hardware in the vehicle is doing that, but what's interesting, Osiris, is another thing I've done before is also, you know what's a GPS tracker? Your phone, right? So in the past, I've built for like some customers don't want to buy hardware, they don't want cameras in their vehicle, or they don't want GPS tracker, but they've distributed cell phones to everyone, right? So in the past, I actually had on my legacy system, I had a way, there was a system before this system that was running on EC2. It was like a monolith on EC2. Everything was self-managed on EC2 on Linux CentOS. But I had a solution where there was a mobile app where you would open up the mobile app and it would turn your phone into a GPS tracker, which is pretty cool. So boom, let's paste this. Let's see if we can run this curl from inside Kubernetes cluster. Okay. I think it ran it with it needs to run it with full permissions. It just tried to run that curl right there inside of Kubernetes. It's about to do it again. Let's do this. Or first, I'm going to, before we execute the curl, can you open up and follow the reports logs? I think they're already open, but let's look. I think they're already open right here. They're already open, I think. I'm pretty sure the logs are already open. Let's just run the curl command. Yeah, Imperium, awesome. Yeah, so we use some React Native open source libraries that helped us tap into the GPS data, and then we set up a web server endpoint to just ingest that data. Now the cool thing is that some companies are trying to turn your phone into a dash camera. So there's ways to tap into some of the low level stuff on the phone. I think like Flutter maybe has some better libraries for getting real low level, because I know React is not truly native, but I think you can do it in React too. There's lots of React open source packages, but one idea is to like get as low level as we can on the phone operating system and start using the phone accelerometer to determine events, like when there's a hard turn, hard brake, and use the camera on the phone as a dash camera. Part of the problem is that your phone is really not designed to run a camera 24/7, so the phone gets too hot. And what happens is I have like customers in Arizona and really hot places, right? Driving through the desert. And like if you put your phone up on the dash and it's a hot day, your phone gets so hot so fast. But that's awesome, Imperium. Yeah, I've done that with React Native, and it was actually really cool. I actually ran. I'm not sure if you're familiar with capstone projects. I had a big team of like 5 or 6 interns. We worked on it together in a capstone. I work really closely with the local colleges, so that was like a really fun experience. Really cool. So let's see here. Okay, let's try and run this. And that's really, to be honest, I got a lot of my knowledge working with really smart interns that and I gave them access to the full stack, right? So together, and a lot of organizations, you would never touch the entire stack, right? And so that's really where I got to learn from some really smart people, and some really smart people that I've worked with have essentially, people that I've worked with are one person's at each one of the big tech firms, right? So, and that was pretty cool. So worked with some less experienced engineers, and we touched the full stack together, but also hired some master's degree students, and some more senior level engineers. So really worked with people at all different skill levels. But and that's really how I got a lot of my knowledge, is really working with a lot of smart people. And that's part of the reason why I started the live stream, is try to return some of that. I feel an obligation to try to contribute to the open source community if I can. I'm trying to carve out some of these microservices maybe and distribute them under GPL 3.0. There are some microservices that I have to keep closed source. So I'm considering, trying to carve out some microservice and anything that's like proprietary logic, business logic that's specific to me, remove it and take that microservice and deploy it as open source, and then keep my closed microservices behind some network layer so the GPL 3.0 license doesn't like infect all your other code. Because with the GPL 3.0, if it's touching other services, you have to open source everything. But I really want to my plans are maybe to open source this liquid glass, and then maybe also open source this coaching platform, maybe where we can ingest video, and it doesn't matter where the video comes from, and make it an extendable framework where we can take in any MP4 video and help you spit out object detection or some sort of outputs, right? And I want to be the first one to like define this protocol or this schema, open source it, and then really see where it goes from there. That's my idea. Hey, amigo. So right now I'm using Cursor. Really, my thoughts on it right now is that, and guys, please like and subscribe and follow if you haven't already. It really helps push out the content to more people. But really, my thoughts on it right now is Codex CLI is the best debug. If I have very complex debugging, Codex is good. Opus 4.5 has the least hallucination, fast and precise. If I need surgical precision and I can't afford any hallucinations or mistakes, which is pretty much like this server that you see, or this platform that you see, I'm running a clone of this on a different Kubernetes cluster that's a production system, and a few different clusters, because this platform can get distributed as like a white label platform too. But pretty much, I have many different Kubernetes clusters, and when I'm working in those systems, it's very critical for me to have a model that doesn't hallucinate and very precise and concise. So Opus 4.5 for that. Gemini 3 Pro right now, I believe, has the best front end skill, best design skill on the front end, and best big system thinking, and a little deeper reasoning. But Google, it's hard to use Gemini all day long. Gemini 3 Flash I can use all day long, but it kind of drives outside the curbs a little bit. Gemini 3 Pro has a lot of, I keep getting this message in Cursor that the model provider is busy. And I'm trying to think, Gemini 3 Flash is, if you build the plan, you can maybe use the more intelligent models to build the plan. But once you have the plan built, if you want to save token cost, you could use a smaller model like Gemini 3 Flash to execute the plan, and that'll save token cost. And Composer 1 I have found to be incredibly comprehensive. Like, there's been times where Composer 1 has really walked me through all of the different alternatives in a super comprehensive way, and it's very fast. They have it, and that's the Composer 1 is the house model from Cursor. But that model, they have it priced the same as GPT. So they have it priced at the same as OpenAI, a lot cheaper than the Anthropic. The Anthropic models are very expensive. But Composer 1, very fast, but it's kind of like an untamed horse. And then you got GPT 5.2 extra high I've been using for deep reasoning. So that's kind of my read on the models. I know that was kind of a long-winded way to answer the question, but that's my thoughts on it. Okay, so let's see. Let's go back here. Let's see if we can get this curl to run. Okay, let's try to run this curl here. Nice, it got a success. Boom. Email notification sent. So it did send me an email. Let's see if I got it. So look at this. So nice, boom. So boom. So it got a scheduled report and sent me a scheduled report, and we hosted it up on AWS S3. So now I'm gonna open this. I'm working on game dev. I've been using Chat. Yeah. So if you have ChatGPT, what you can do is this is the Codex CLI. So you can install, and also, so there's two ways to use Codex. One way is right from here. I can use it inside of a product called VS Code. So inside a product called VS Code, I have Codex set up, and Codex, you get that with your OpenAI $20 plan. You have you're able to use Codex. Actually, VS Code, and just with that OpenAI $20 plan, you can start to use this thing called Codex, and Codex is OpenAI's coding model, right? So I could like open up a new chat and say, let's see, I'll just say, I'm working on scheduled reports. I want you to go into the report service and run git log and look very far back in the log and review the commits. We're just brainstorming right now. I want you to review the old commits and tell me how we implemented scheduled reports. So boom. So this is Codex inside of a IDE called VS Code. And there's also another way to use Codex. I also can use Codex from what we call the CLI or the terminal, right? So I can run Codex here, and I can also use Codex here. Oh, Cyrus, why was it crashing? So this is also another way to use Codex from the terminal, and this is Ghosty. And I'm not sure if you're on Mac, but there's PowerShell, WSL subsystem for Linux. And you can also use it straight from the CLI here. So I want you to review the scheduled reports code from the reports service. So boom, I can also run it from the CLI. Okay, Windows, yeah, so it would be, I'm not as familiar with Windows, but yeah, you can either use it like inside of PowerShell, or you could use VS Code, which is, actually Cursor took a fork of VS Code and then made AI native inside of it. But, this is a good way to do that too, right here, using Codex in VS Code. So you should check out both of those. And what I found is that OpenAI, Codex might not be the best coding model right now, but I think it's pretty damn close to one of the best. It's right there. But But I mean, you just get a lot of requests. OpenAI is giving a lot of tokens for $20, a pretty cheap cost. No, I don't use VS Code. I'm using a Cursor right now. But if I want to use Codex inside of an IDE, I'll use VS Code, because in VS Code, then I can use Codex, the OpenAI product, inside of VS Code here. But Cursor allows you to use, you can select all the different models in Cursor, and that's really what's cool about Cursor. And so you can do that in VS Code too, with GitHub Copilot. A tool called GitHub Copilot is another tool for $10. I think you can get GitHub Copilot, and it's very similar to Cursor. But Cursor has a $20 plan. It's hard to say. It depends kind of what your budget is and how conservative you're trying to be with the token usage cost. So anyways, let's look at this report. Let me download this report real quick. One second. Was it like embedding libraries or something, Osiris, that was slowing things down? Okay, I'm trying to find the report in my Gmail. So. Okay, so here's the report that we ran. Okay, so it has the event log ID, the event type, and it has the link. Nice. So with this, so now I want to run another one. Okay, let's try to run another curl for one of the other scheduled reports. So what we do is we go hit the report service, we generate the report, convert it to a CSV, and then we're signing the CSV on AWS S3, and we're pushing it into AWS S3. Oh, wow. Oh, like it was trying to grep stuff and push it to push it into the context or the MCP server or something? Interesting. And guys, I'm here in the south of the United States, so there's supposed to be some big historic storm coming. I may need to hit the grocery store soon, so it might not be a super long stream today. I just got to hit the grocery store and get some food, and I'm gonna try to be on stream again, hopefully. And I'm still not done right now, but I'm hoping to maybe be on stream. It all depends if my electricity goes out. So hopefully it doesn't go out. Okay, so we're gonna run another scheduled report. So we just did the critical event scheduled report, and it worked. And now we got to find out too, before we even do that. Yeah, you know what? Let's do it. Let's run another one. I know, Chad on. I know. I'm worried that I'm just going to grab whatever I can. I'm going to get like food that I don't need electricity for. I'm just going to get some tuna cans and just like tuna cans and some canned food or something. Some bread. Stuff that doesn't need to be cold. Nice, we just generated another one. Nice, now I just got another email with the stop report. Nice. So here's the stop report. Okay, yeah. So here's the stop report. It just ran. So that's a scheduled report, creating a CSV, and then pushing that CSV to AWS S3, which is pretty cool. And if you haven't already, guys, please like and subscribe. It really helps a lot. I'm going to use the restroom quickly. Oh, let's go. Be right back, guys. Hey guys, I'm back. So one thing I do remember, and it's very strange, but it looks like scheduled reports is working. Somehow this scheduled report interrupted some functionality on the mobile app, and so I just need to double check that. And it's just a memory I have from the last time we worked on this. So I'm also going to come into here and go. Look, what's my mobile app called here? Okay. Let's do. Close this up, close this down. Okay, I'm gonna say. Okay, I want you to go into Get Party Mobile and start this mobile app. You should be able to list out the simulators that we have and boot up the iOS simulator and then build the app. See if Gemini 3 Pro can do this. Okay, here's all my simulators. We're gonna boot up the mobile app real quick just to make sure. It's a very strange issue, but there was some. Bit CD'd into. Okay, here's the simulator. Hey, I'm Gio. Cool, man. This is what this is all about. And if you want to join the Discord, it's discord.bluecactus.ai. I'm not sure if you're a Discord guy, but if you put that link into your browser, it'll redirect you to the Discord link, and it should open up Discord for you. Let's see if we can get this app to build here. Oh, here we go. Oh. It's funny, but every time I had, there's a few days where I don't bundle this and start it. There's always an error. I don't know why though. Sometimes I haven't seen this error. What's happening right here? We've been able to bundle and start this app many times. What is this error? It's interesting, but Gemini 3 Pro always has a tiny bit of hold on. Why is it making a... Hold on. We shouldn't have to make this change, but never even worked in this file. Hold on. I'm gonna switch to Opus for this. We shouldn't have to make any changes to this mobile app to bundle it and start it. See if you can do this. Make sure you're inside of the Get Party mobile directory. Yeah, so if you go to Discord, let me send you the actual link. Hold on. And it's hey, try this link. Ego, my bad. See if that link works. The discord.bluecactus.ai, interesting. Yeah, try to paste this link inside of Discord. That should work. I don't know what directory it ran this command in, though. It's rebuilding it. Cool, amigo. Awesome. Yeah, I didn't realize that well, I set up that 8. I thought it was going to be a cool thing to do to So look at this, guys. It's interesting. Gemini 3 Pro, all I asked it to do was start my mobile app. And it can never do it. It's kind of fascinating. It can never do it. Opus boots it up every single time without problem. Okay, guys, so this is the mobile app. I don't know if any of you guys have seen this yet, but if I go to events, crap, there's no events in the last 24 hours. I might have to go drive the car to test it. It's okay. This is the mobile app, guys. It's kind of a bummer, but I can't show you events right now. I'd have to modify the mobile app code, but it's very weird. But after I implemented, I think that this mobile app is calling the report service, and now the report service, or the scheduled reports, is also calling the report service to pull in the events. And some modification we had to make sure the CSV was working had some side effect. I know I do need to go shopping, man. Has some side effect that causes an issue with this, but yeah. So I mean, we had some good progress today, though. I didn't get to, I know in the description I said we might try one more thing, guys. It's just a fun thing to end the stream. Let's try one more thing. We're gonna try to bundle that Whisper C++ model into the liquid glass. Let's try to see if we can do that, and then we'll end the stream here. Give it a shot. So let's go into bluecactus.ai, and let's just go into let's just come into here. Let's run get status. Okay, nice. We're on a working tree. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna open up this, and we're gonna say, okay, what we want to do is we want to check out to a new branch, and then we want to wire up the audio functionality. So we want to integrate a small Whisper C++ model into this binary, and make sure it's a small one. And we need to be able to pull in audio from a meeting or a browser, and or the computer microphone, pull in that audio, and then do transcription using the local Whisper C++ model. Yeah, it's supposed to hit for me, I think, like either tonight, I think. Okay, nice. All right, let's see if we can do this. This would be cool if we could get this done. It'd be kind of cool. Okay, let's check out. You know what we could do? Let's go into plan mode. Okay, I want you to build a plan to implement this in plan mode. It knows it's in plan mode. I need to learn how to raid on Twitch too. We have a small party on Twitch, but I need to return the favor. Midnight Simon has been raiding our stream, which is really, really cool. But I'm new to Twitch, so. Yeah, Ego. So I've been doing coding for a while, but I did start as a business guy, so I'm not like a classically trained engineer. if you put some leak code algorithm in front of me that's super difficult, I might have some challenge. But what I would do if I was you is I would start building prototypes for like a product that you want to use in your personal life. Like I have a friend that watches international soccer, and he's building like just a soccer app. ESPN has some open API that you can use to pull in some international soccer data for La Liga and different stuff. So he's kind of just building little products that he wants to use. But what I would do is try to build prototypes and then test them aggressively, and always be asking ChatGPT, hey, here's my app. If there's bugs, take screenshots, post the screenshot back in. If it has some issue or some error, grab the error message and put the error message back into the chat. And keep that cycle where you build something, try to test it. If you don't understand how to test it, ask AI, hey, I just built this prototype. I have no idea how to start it, how to test it. And tell the AI too that you're not technical at all, and I need you to approach this with me in a way that I can understand. So because it might not, it doesn't know that you're not technical unless you tell it you're not super technical, right? And so that's what I would do. It's kind of like sitting with some human, and he's some super technical guy. He's talking a bunch of gibberish at you, and you got to be like, dude, like, I don't know what the hell you're saying. Like, you need to chill out. Just dumb it down for me a little bit. I've never coded, right? And that the thing about this stuff too, man, is no one's born with this knowledge, right? I mean, this is something that I've accumulated over time. But what's interesting is like the knowledge I have now with using the LLM, you can accelerate a lot faster than I would. You can get to where I'm at a lot faster than I was able to get here. For sure. It's the whisper model. How embed model binary. I want to try to embed it. Which audio source is the priority? Let's just do microphone only for now, just to test. Hey, chat on. Yeah, so this business, this is my business pretty much. So that product's in production, and we have customers, and then also I was in this telematics video space, partners with a lot of the enterprise companies in this space, and so I've sold a lot of. I was a reseller or a distributor for other software vendors in the space, and I've sold a lot of technology, and so I have a lot of customers that are in the field, and we're earning money from that, and so that's what's able to allow me to do this. So, I have enough income coming in to be able to sit here on a Friday at 1:30 p.m. and do this with you guys. So I'm still managing this business. I guess I'm not. It's not like a traditional 9-to-5 type of thing, but pretty much. I'm still managing this business and doing this. I do have people that are helping me though on the business operations side. Because at some point I knew that, pretty much after building out a solid core of customers by partnering with other technical companies, that was what gave me the income to even be able to try to hire engineers and build a product like this, right? And so I started on literally sales, not technical at all, which is pretty crazy. I was technical, dude, but the extent of my technical was playing and I wasn't even one of these gamer guys. Well, you hear a lot about a lot of these coding guys, they start working with software in games, right? And I don't know, I never really had anyone talk to me about that. I did play games, but I never understood the whole software side of games, where like games like Minecraft, I guess, and old school RuneScape have like these open source ecosystems where you can learn how to code while gaming. But that really wasn't me. I kind of like learned how to code more out of necessity, because I had hired a lot of less experienced engineers, and there's a lot of churn, right? So I'd hire less experienced engineers. They do great work for me, but then they moved on to bigger and better things. Like I couldn't afford to pay them what Google would pay them, or what AWS would pay them, or Robinhood, or tons of different companies that they went to. And so sometimes I'd be working with groups of people, they would leave, and then I'd be like, oh shit, I'm managing a Kubernetes cluster right now, like I gotta learn this shit. So and that's kind of, and then there's been times, dude, where I was like, when I had to do my first Kubernetes upgrade, and like all the workloads getting interrupted and restarting, and my Redis pod couldn't access the persistent volume elastic block storage, and the pod wouldn't schedule on the node. I had like all these my authentication was screwed up, and like and that's kind of how I learned, is just by literally going through the fire. And what I would suggest is, a lot of people try to get things like exactly perfect before you push to production, and it does matter. You need to make sure that you have security on lock, because you want to be responsible with, especially if you have sensitive data, you want to be as responsible as you can. But, a lot of my learning did come from just getting products out there, trying to get people to start using them, and then working aggressively to resolve any issues. Now, you still want to do aggressive testing before you launch stuff if you can, because you just don't want to have an app that's just like doesn't even work. But I guess my point is the faster that it's kind of the Silicon Valley model, and that's what vibe coding really is like kind of pushing prototypes out quickly, get feedback, iterate, push something out, get feedback, iterate, right? And I'm not your traditional vibe code guy, I guess. Like right now, I'm not building a ton of consumer products and trying to launch them all as fast as I can and see which one works and then hyper focus on the one that gets traction. I'm kind of like building B2B apps where I'm going to slowly try to scale them. Like my ideas with the agents business, I'm going to be targeting like a certain verticals. And then really where the value is all of these verticals have different business requirements, different hallucinations. The agent's going to behave differently, right? And so there's a lot of professional services work to do with small and medium-sized businesses on each one of these verticals. And if you can kind of have some success with that vertical and get that business intelligence of, okay, when the model's doing this in this vertical, it hallucinates. This workflow, it has challenges. This workflow, it doesn't have challenges. And that's where the value really is. So let's see if we can do this. All right, guys, normally, just because I need to get to a grocery store, I normally would maybe read through that plan a little bit more, but now we're gonna roll the dice here, and we're just gonna build this thing. Let's do it. And I want to make sure that we're on the right branch first. Nice. Let's do it. If this works in one shot, it'll be pretty incredible. Yeah, the syntax Osiris, and that's really some really great engineers. From my understanding, some of the best engineers, like they knew Linux commands. They were really good at grepping stuff. Like all these greps and stuff that you see the model doing, like these engineers had memorized a lot of that. They had memorized like the syntax, right? And so like some of these grep commands that these models will run, like, those were hard to figure out. Like that could take you a day to figure out the grep command to execute. So like this has just been such a game changer, especially for a guy that, I know a lot. I'm like a jack of all trades, master of none, and so I know a little bit about everything, but I never went super super deep on one thing. But that's where now the model has literally been life changing. I mean, even for me managing Kubernetes, like when I would have like engineers come and go, or interns come and go, like just managing the Kubernetes, like figuring out the Kubernetes commands to open up the pod logs and to look at the events and describe the pod to see why it crashed. All that took time. Ego? That's a good question. I mean, I know that you can get a job without going to college. I'll say that. Now, there is some, it all depends like what your finances are like, right? If you can afford to go to college and afford to take that time, there is networking you can do in college, and I would just make sure to like really join communities in college and network with your professors, right? Because the professors can help you get jobs. So there's like some networking element in college, but you could also go to communities, vibe coding communities, start networking. And like, I know like one great thing about software is if you can have proof of work or do some projects that can help lead you to a job, right? And so this is one area where, it's not like a lawyer or a doctor where you have to have it's this profession, a professional profession, right? It's easier to break into this by just doing stuff, right? And then putting it up on your GitHub, and now you have a portfolio of work on your GitHub that helps people understand that you're skilled. Yeah. So let's do this. See if this works. I think I gotta install. Homebrew needs to install this. What's CMake? And guys, please follow, like, and subscribe. Hey, Lucas. Hey, a couple different things. So and I'll go through it real quickly, and you can go check out some of the other live streams if you want, but we have telematics video platform. So we have cameras in the vehicle. We have a mapping system. And so this is Three.js on top of Google Maps. We can look at so this is a telematics video camera in a vehicle, and we can go look at trips, right? So we can look at these different trips. I can hover over them and highlight the trips. So this is a camera that does position history and also critical events. So I can look at critical events here. And these are things that happen at the edge, like distraction, fatigue, phone use, cigarette use, hard turn, hard accelerate, shock, severe shock. And we can see these different events. Again, the camera's using Edge AI to help detect some of these events, looking at my eyes, looking at my mouth, to try to determine when I'm fatigued or sleepy or distracted. And then what we're doing is we're building out a coaching platform. So if I come in, we're using open source models to detect object detection and depth estimation. And And so we're trying to do a post analysis on these events. So we've got the context from the edge. Then we're also doing this video analysis to get more context. And then we're building a simulation. We're building a simulation. And this is moving at a relative speed. So this kind of does what we call event reconstruction of an event. And this helps like a fleet manager or whoever's responsible for the safety get better context of what happened in the event and kind of see the event and see how the vehicle is kind of slowing down there. Were they speeding up? Were they slowing down? And you get that. So I'm using Google Maps in 3JS. It's a 3JS overlay on top of Google Maps. And then we have a report, right? So then we build a report. We say, okay, what's the safety level of this report? What's the event snapshot? So it was a DSM distraction. What objects did we detect in that event? And then we're coming up with observations and an action plan. And this comes up with learning content for the driver. So the idea is events come in, we determine, okay, was the driver being risky? Is it a false positive? And the driver, we don't take any disciplinary action. It's about finding, okay, is this a real event or not a real event? Do we need to communicate with the driver and coach the driver? Or did the driver go over a pothole and it shook the camera and the camera thought there was an event, but there wasn't an event? And so kind of wrapping this all together in some sort of coaching framework and distributing learning content to the driver. And also we're doing face detection at the edge. So, detecting the camera takes a picture of my face, tries to use face detection to figure out who the driver is. And so then we know who the driver is, we can distribute learning content. And then right now we're working on liquid glass. So this is the liquid glass. And we have building also, so that's telematics video business. And in parallel, we're building an agents business at the same time. So this is liquid glass, and this is going to be a sales and support co-pilot where, a sales or support rep could have this open and we have all their business documentation embedded in some sort of vector storage. And what we're able to do is in real time, using models like Whisper C++ that are embedded in the local binary, we're able to do transcription and then look at our business documentation and try to surface business insights for support reps, surface the right insights at the right time in real time is the idea. So anyway, so let's see if we can get this done. And right now we're trying to, Google Maps can be pricey. Depends what you're doing with Google Maps. So in that case, I mean, if the van does roll, it should trigger like a severe shock that accelerometer will trigger an event. I mean, you'll definitely get an event if the vehicle's rolling. Okay, so let's run this. Hey, what I am going to do, DN Bull, is there's another service called OpenStreetMap. So one of the things I'm going to be doing is we have a speeding alert, right? And so every time I have a threshold, a static threshold, I have a threshold, and we put that threshold into key value storage. And every time new data comes in, we check Redis to see if that speed is over the threshold or not, and we send an alert. But the problem with that is it's a static speeding alert, which means that if you set up a speeding alert for 50 miles per hour, and but the highway has a speed limit of 70 miles per hour, you don't want to be getting an alert every time he goes over 50 miles per hour because he's on the highway and the speed limit's 70. So one thing I'm going to do is with a service called OpenStreetMap, I'm going to get the posted speed limit data. So I'm going to take that OpenStreetMap data, put it in Postgres, use a Postgres extension, OpenGIS, to do geospatial calculation. And I'm going to take in that live data, speeding data, and then I'm going to go check the posted speed limit from OpenStreetMap and start using posted speed limit data to send alerts. So that's what I'm going to be doing with that. And that we're going to do that live here on stream, which should be actually fun. I mean, that's just pretty fun. For some reason, the geospatial calculations at the database level is really cool to me, instead of doing it at the application layer. It's a lot of code. And guys, please follow, like, and subscribe if you haven't already. It helps push this content out to more people. Really, my goal is to, and I got this little, I don't switch to this enough, but my goal is try to build a community of really anybody that's interested in AI, anyone that's in maybe like an entry-level white collar job that's concerned about AI, replacing them in their job role, and just interested in learning more about AI and vibe coding. Anyone that's interested in starting businesses. So our Discord is discord.bluecactus.ai. When you put it into the URL bar in your browser, it should redirect you to the Discord and open up Discord for you. If that doesn't work, it should, if you go to the URL bar, you should see the proper Discord link. So after you type in discord.bluecactus.ai in your URL bar, it'll redirect you to the Discord link. Then you can copy that Discord link from the URL bar and paste it into Discord, and then join the community that way. But really happy to have anyone at any skill level. Just wanted to kind of say what this channel's all about. And also I do high level discussion around AI topics. So, if you're interested in some of the higher level discussions that are happening, at the C-suite level at these big organizations, and I'm not inside the C-suite rooms, but I have an idea of kind of some of that discussion that's going on and what they're thinking about. So I like to watch interviews that I think are meaningful, and then give some commentary on those interviews. So if you're interested in just high-level AI discussion, this is a good place for you too. Oh. Okay, so we're back. I'm using Cursor Dart. I use Cursor, I use Ghosty CLI, I use Codex CLI in Ghosty for my terminal. Also, I just use the regular terminal. I use Cursor. Now, if I want to use codecs inside of an IDE, I'll use VS Code. And then use the codecs extension inside VS Code. But right now my workflow is like Cursor, and I'm using the codecs CLI usually. I think I'm gonna have to clear the permissions. Can you read the README? We're probably gonna have to kill the perms and then rebuild and then test. Ooh. Testing. Testing. First time takes a few seconds. Can you open and follow the logs? How can we look into the logs for this app? Testing. Okay, yeah, the only problem is when we run the dev bundle as in development mode, it won't save the permissions. And to do this, do we need to enable permissions for audio? Okay, let's reset all permissions for the microphone and for the screenshots. And then let's rebuild the app, and let's look at it let's look at the logs. Yeah, I have enough tokens. I know Opus is expensive, so I've been trying to use Gemini 3 Pro as much as I can. Usually I have enough. I mean, if I really was ripping all day, every day, I'd hit the limit. But, you know, if I'm getting close to the limit, that's kind of my sign, I think, to touch grass or go outside. Let me see. Okay, so the permissions just reset. So if I come to system settings. Screen. I always forget where that permission. All right, let's try. this? Okay. App just booted up. Testing. Testing. Oh, it's loading model. Testing. Look at that. Nice. That's local transcription, guys. Pretty damn cool. Yeah, that's a funny one, Osiris. But man, um, wow. Well, it got your name right, Osiris. Or no, I guess it didn't spell it right. Guys, that's pretty damn cool. I mean, we just kind of okay, hey, I'm a sales guy. I'm getting ready to do a sales demo on a product. Um, wow. Pretty damn cool. And guys, if you haven't already, that's a pretty successful stream. I think I'm gonna end it there. I gotta hit the grocery store. The shelves are gonna be empty. I gotta prepare for this storm. But so that's free transcription running locally. Um, that's free transcription running locally. So that's pretty damn cool. Actually, so the idea with this is that we're going to use the transcription. We can create summaries for meetings. And also we can surface. Oh, hey, guys. Sorry, I haven't been watching Twitch chat. Pixel Princess, I'm good. I hope you're still in here. Sorry if I missed you. Let me see. I like to send I try to send a whisper to people that I miss if I can. Let me see. Uh, you know what? I'll have to figure out how to do it. It's okay. I can't see it for some reason. But hey, Pixel Princess. Hopefully, I didn't miss you. But all right, guys. I'm gonna end the stream now. But I'll see you guys on the next stream, and thank you everyone that watched the content this far. It really means a lot, and it should be a pretty fun year of vibe coding. And together we should be able to build some pretty cool stuff. Again, if you're interested in the community, discord.bluecactus.ai. You got to put it into your browser, and it'll redirect to the proper Discord link. But yeah, just really excited to just build community. And I've already learned so much actually from people that are in the community that shared knowledge already inside of Discord or just inside of chat. And so, and early in my career, I never really networked a ton, and I'm still not a huge like network guy, but this I after live streaming, I always wanted to network and wanted to build community, but just didn't really get out there enough to do it. But that's part of the reason why I started live streaming too is just to meet interesting people. So anyways, guys, I'll see you on the next stream.